Today I'd like to broach such an awesome subject, which is the world of anime. We got the series, we got the feature-length films, and OVA. In this video, I'll be covering movies and OVA, but the twist is... I got a notification. But the twist is, they're from the 80s and 90s. If you've been watching enough anime, you may have realized the different aesthetics throughout the decades. In a sense, it's like music or regular movies. Music and movies from a specific decade have a certain feel to them that differs from other decades. Well, anime is no different. The topic in this video is all about that sick-looking aesthetic of anime movies from the 80s and 90s that is just so, yeah. Actually, I think, yeah is a great way to describe them. However, when I type, yeah, in the dictionary nothing comes up, so I'll do my best to explain what I mean. It's about those gorgeous handmade backgrounds, the thick pitch-black shadows only adding to the edgy dark subject matter of some of them. It's about those characteristic sound effects and usually great animation, you know what I mean? They just have a certain look and feel specific to them. So I decided to not just gush over this era of Japanese animation, but also took it upon myself to watch some of them and talk about them here. There will be spoilers, therefore be careful, but at the end of the video, I think this will be a pretty great recommendation list. If you've watched them, shake my hands, you're a person of culture. If not yet, just seek out these goodies and have a good time. And before I begin, let me just talk about the difference between a movie and an OVA. Anime movie is self-explanatory. It's a feature-length animation. Now, OVA stands for Original Video Animation, and these are a cross between a series and a movie. They tend to have at least double the length of an anime episode, generally featuring a higher quality animation, may even be split into episodes, and, as the name suggests, these go straight to video. Now we can tell a movie from an OVA. Alright then, now for the rest of the video. Here we go. I'll begin with the movies directed by Yoshiaki Kawajiri. I'll group them all into a trilogy, which is comprised of Wicked City, Demon City Shinjuku, and Goku Midnight Eye. But hey, Kawajiri also directed Ninja Scrolls. So okay, if 3 movies make a trilogy, 4 movies make a trilogy. Yeah. Let me start with Wicked City. A little bit of background first. The movie is based on a novel by Hideyuki Kikuchi in his Wicked City series of novels, the first being Wicked City Blackguard. This is the title of the work in Japanese, Yoju Toshi. The first kanji is yo, meaning attractive, calamity, bewitching, and used in constructions such as yokai, a supernatural thing like a ghost, apparition, a specter, etc. Next is this, which can be read as ju, meaning animal, beast, and finally toshi, which means city or town. So the meaning of the title in Japanese would basically be supernatural beast city. With the meaning of the title out of the way, let's explore the movie proper. If anybody ever says that anime is for kids, 1. We know that ain't true, and 2. You can show them Wicked City. Okay, you could just show them hentai to make a point, but come on man, this is a bit too much and this is a family show. Kinda.
Oh.
Wicked City is no hentai, but let me tell you, you might want to be careful to avoid anybody walking in on you while watching it because let's say some scenes are really not safe for work. I can say the movie is edgy, but I don't use the word in its derogative sense, like some work that simply wants to shock and nothing more. There's clearly an overt sexual vibe that is intrinsic to the movie's plot, so it's not just for the sake of edginess. I don't want to give too many visual spoilers, but consider the keywords teeth and lady parts. When you watch the movie, you'll understand. That reminds me, there isn't only a strong sexual noir feel to the movie, but it also gets a little David Cronenberg-y in the character design, so expect some good old body horror. Now for the setup of the movie. The protagonist is a man called Taki Renzuru, who has a fake day job to cover up for his real job as a blackguard. A blackguard is somebody tasked with protecting our world from another one called Black World. Think of it as a demon world. He is assigned a mission to be the bodyguard of a little Kamisen-style pervy old man named Giuseppe Maillard, who is vital to sign a peace treaty between both worlds in a ceremony that is soon to take place. Taki will not be alone in this task, however, because he'll partner up with a woman from the Black World named Maki. As is usually the case in political intrigues where 2 sides of a conflict are finally moving towards peace, some parties simply want the animosity to continue. In Wicked City, that is no different. because some bad guys from the Black World aren't about to let this peace treaty go smoothly. While fending off the Black World bad guys and trying their best to protect Giuseppe, who only thinks of TNA, Maki and Taki will eventually grow to become lovers and engage in some love-making. Which is for the better, because that was the plan all along. It turns out Giuseppe wasn't of utmost importance to unite both worlds, but rather, that is the role of a baby born out of the union between both races. And that explains at least some of the sexual vibe of the whole movie. Like I said, it had a deeper meaning than just a pure edginess. The movie is not just about that, of course. There are enough fight scenes involving Taki using his sick-looking pistol to shoot the heck out of the bad guys, and Maki with her supernatural Black World powers. As for the enemies, there are some cool character designs like a spider lady and this motherfucker right here who looks just like the actor Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa. Well, that's it for Wicked City. Out of the movies in this trilogy, I'd say this is the most adult and unapologetic when it comes to erotic scenes. But it doesn't stray too far from the recurrent elements in these movies directed by Yoshiaki Kawajiri. What I mean with recurrent elements will become clearer as I cover the next movie, so I'll circle back to this topic later. Now, let's move on to Demon City Shinjuku. I'll begin by breaking down the kanji used in the original title. This is read as ma, meaning witch, demon, or evil spirit. Next is the kanji kai, which means world or boundary. This kanji can be read as to, it means metropolis, capital. Then there is this one, which can be read as shi, it also means city or town. And these two kanji meaning Shinjuku. So the Japanese title is pronounced Makai Toshi Shinjuku. Demon City Shinjuku is a fitting translation, it doesn't stray from the original meaning. Hey, as a bonus, let's break down the kanji forming Shinjuku. We got this one which can be read as Shin, meaning new, and this one which by itself is read as Suku, meaning, well, all of this on screen. Kanji out, let's talk about this bad boy now. This too is another adaptation of a novel by Hideyuki Kikuchi. Demon City Shinjuku is the first in a series of 7 books. As for the OVA adaptation, it begins with a sick fight between a suit-wearing man called Genichiro and a demon called Rebira. What ensues from their battle is the tragic defeat of Genichiro and the almost complete destruction of the Shinjuku region in an earthquake that was later dubbed the Devil's Shake. Then, 10 years later, we follow the protagonist called Kiyoya Izaoi, who doesn't give 2 shits about saving the world's asshole. Hey, these are his words, not mine.
I got better things to do than saving the world's asshole.
Kiyoya is actually the son of a warrior Genichiro from the beginning of the movie. As such, he also inherited his father's skills in the art of Nempo, which basically means he will be kicking bad guys' ass with a wooden katana.
Do you not recognize a practitioner of Nempo, the concentration of physical energy derived from human thought, which in its highest form can challenge even the unnatural forces of the spirit world?
The thing is, despite being destined to fight evil like his father before him, Kiyoya simply wants to eat some noodles and grope waitresses. But our extremely reluctant hero will be thrown into an adventure to save the world president Kozumi, a man working diligently to bring world peace who was kidnapped by the villain Rebira. At first, Kiyoya doesn't want to get involved with this kind of endeavor, but that is quickly changed when the president's daughter, Sayaka, repeatedly asks for his help with her British accent. Yeah, in the awesome English dub, Sayaka sounds British.
I was told you'd ride along this road. I am Sayaka, the daughter of the Federation President.
Oh.
My father desperately needs help.
Hey, well, I gotta say, you're much prettier than on television.
I knew you wouldn't let me come alone to this bad place.
You're pushing it, you know. I could have just gone home and let you play games with those guys. Come on.
Speaking of English dub, expect F-bombs galore throughout the movie. Contrary to Wicked City, you don't need to be mindful of the erotic scenes, but rather the profanity if you run the risk of somebody walking in on you while watching it.
Yes, but Rebira is about to complete the bargain that he made with the demon world. He'll bring chaos to all humanity if no one stops him.
Well, there's fuck all I can do.
What do you intend to do when you meet Rebira?
I'm gonna tear his head off and shove it up his ass, lady.
Interestingly, Kiyoya also has an old man figure acting as a guide, but unlike Giuseppe from Wicked City, this one ain't no perv.
And I was the teacher who trained your father in the art of Nempo.
Kiyoya and Sayaka will dive deep into Shinjuku, facing dangers and meeting some quirky characters such as Little Chibi, who sounds just like Tony Montana.
Yeah, well, you can show it with some green bucks. Stupid mutt, you're supposed to be a killer.
What a strange animal.
Nah, there are 2-headed dogs all over the place.
and Mephisto with his long dark hair and red clothes making him look like Vincent Valentine from Final Fantasy. The movie has a few slight sexual overtones but very tame in comparison to Wicked City, like when Sayaka and Kiyoya have to share the same bed.
If I stay next to her, I'm gonna lose control.
Sayaka doesn't understand why Kiyoya didn't want to sleep so close to her.
You must have had a disturbed sleep to finish up on the floor. It was more comfortable on the bed.
How does she think I could sleep lying next to her?
Such a princess. Another interesting detail is the name of Genichiro's sword. It's called Asura, which is a reference to a being from Hindu mythology of the same name. It's a type of deity who is constantly fighting other deities, and if the name sounds familiar, yep, Capcom made a game inspired by this. As for the ending, it is ever so slightly underwhelming because Kiyoya defeats Rebira in a single strike, kisses the good girl, and then is warned by Mephisto that his adventure doesn't end here. The movie has good action scenes, animation that is fluid and detailed enough, and a gorgeous visual style, which is par for the course for productions made by the legendary studio Madhouse. Now, let's move on to Goku. You know Goku, right? Of course, everybody knows Goku, the star of Goku Midnight Eye. This two-part OVA is not based on a novel by Hideyuki Kikuchi, but rather a manga by author Buichi Terasawa, which follows the character Goku Furinji, a private detective. Before addressing the plot, I know you're familiar with the name Goku, but let's explore this reference a bit further. It seems that, to an extent, author Buichi Terasawa also based his character on Sun Wukong, also known as the Monkey King, the protagonist of the Chinese novel Journey to the West. In reality, the name Goku is simply how you read the kanji forming Wukong. As for our detective here, he even sports a staff that changes size, similar to the one used by Son Goku and Sun Wukong, who inspired both. The only difference being that his staff is technological and not magical like the other examples I gave. The world of Goku Midnight Eye has major Akira vibes all around, with gorgeous shots of the city skyline and the bright lights from buildings and neon all around. It may not be too dystopical featuring a world rebuilt after a war, but there are massive earthquakes that make people on edge, doing all manner of crazy things as if it was their last day, because when an earthquake strikes, that might just be the case. The animation style is about on par with the works I've talked about so far, and it also features some highly detailed backgrounds and character designs. As for the look and feel, is as noir as can be, featuring the protagonist's voiceover at some points with some gritty investigations and dark outcomes. Something else worth noting is that as soon as you hear Goku's voice in the English version, you'll know his voice by none other than Spike Spiegel himself.
This damn city's been flattened by earthquakes twice, but they just keep rebuilding. Bigger and flashier than before. It's a great big gaudy slice of chaos dancing on the brink of oblivion, and I call it home. My name is Goku.
Kidding. It's Steve Blum, of course, and the man does a great job in the role. Alright, now let's talk about the plot. The story kicks off at a nightclub when... oh boy! Dang, okay, this can make for some good thumbnail material. Let me screenshot this real quick. It's not every day you see a woman dancing at a nightclub half naked with handlebars attached to her back. Anyway, in this very normal nightclub, there is an undergoing investigation on a man called Genji Hakuryu, a supposedly small-time nightclub owner who is in reality a big-time arms dealer. Strangely, the police officers investigating him are one by one falling like domino, coming down with a severe case of suicide. Goku, who was himself a police officer before becoming a private eye, decides to contribute with his own investigation. Hakuryu's base of operation is a huge impregnable building, but Goku ignores that simple detail and decides to solid snake it and sneak in. Turns out there's a half-naked woman with some peacock eyes coming out of her back who hypnotizes people and causes them to bump themselves off. Goku falls victim to her, but the man is able to puncture his own eye to escape her Medusa-like stare. Our hero is then saved by someone mysterious who gives him a special high-tech eye that is connected to every computer on Earth. Computers control the planet and Goku controls the computers. That is the power of a Midnight Eye. The eye allows him to analyze structures, control devices, read all sorts of data, and take over any technology. Truly is too much power in the hands of a single individual, but thankfully Goku is simply using it to further his investigations. Speaking of which, out of the officers assigned with investigating Hakuryu, there's only one left, Yoko, who has been friends with Goku since they worked together in the Force. Yoko's investigations are sadly cut short when she's the final victim of Hakuryu. With the investigation turning into a revenge matter, Goku decides to invade the enemy's fortress again, but this time he's got the powerful Midnight Eye at his disposal. Hakuryu sends his forces to stop Goku, including the animalistic handlebar girl who shoots lasers from her mouth, his scientists, and the peacock bitch, but none of them stand a chance against Goku, his fancy staff, and his technological eye. At the end, Goku manages to finish Genji Hakuryu with a clean laser to the forehead, shot directly from the head of the handlebar girl he was holding. And that is the first OVA. It is a bit grim considering what happens to the police officers investigating the main bad guy and even Yoko, Goku's friend. But I guess that's what you get for being the protagonist of a noir story. You'll probably be a loner and simply face the hardships that come with the job.
I don't know who gave me this left eye or why. It's everything the man said it was. Still, it may be handy controlling every computer terminal on Earth, but what good is it really? It didn't help me save Yoko's life.
But Goku will take on whatever the city throws at him again in another adventure, but for now, he'll be driving into the night at the sound of Fighting in the Danger, which is a banger of an end-credit theme song. In the second OVA, the plot kicks off with Goku being hired by a woman named Yoshiko Kadame, who wants to find her missing brother. This time, the plot revolves around Goku and Yoshiko trying to find her brother Ryu before he's too far gone. The thing about Ryu is that he was experimented on by the military. These experiments turned him into a cyborg, a killing machine with the technology that allows him to have an edge on pretty much any opponent. It's something called a barrier generator. It's like an almighty push that can deflect bullets, push opponents back, or even smash them into a wall. Ryu is not yet a mindless killing machine. He's on a quest to find this ambison-looking ass dude called Zenzo, who is involved in the experiments that turned him into this cyborg. In his investigations and subsequent encounters with Ryu, Goku will understand that Yoshiko's brother truly is a force to be reckoned with. Unable to defeat him by his usual means because nothing goes through that barrier generator, Goku uses the Midnight Eye to have an entire factory turn his car into a Batmobile-type vehicle capable of launching a missile that can break itself down into smaller parts and then reunite itself again behind the barrier generator. In the final confrontation, it is found that Ryu was but another pawn in Zenzo's game. Turns out Ryu is not really a man-turned-cyborg, but rather a clone of Zenzo created to be a guinea pig to test the effects of the barrier generator in his physiology. As for Yoshiko, she was never Ryu's sister, but actually his mother. Now, having full knowledge that his body can withstand the barrier generator, the power-hungry military man unleashes his attack to eliminate everyone in his path. Ryu and Yoshiko don't make it out alive, but our man Goku is still out there. He uses his Midnight Eye in the Goku Mobile to fire the missile that blows Zenzo to bits. And that's it for the two OVA. I think Goku is such an interesting character because, as a fan of other investigators such as Sherlock Holmes, I think stories featuring private eyes are ripe for some good thrills in the near future cyberpunkish noir setting. Makes me want to follow more adventures. Of course, if you want more Goku, more TNA and Midnight Eye shenanigans, the manga is always an option. And it is a short one, having a total of 3 volumes. So, if you want more Goku, hey, I mean, this Goku, you can give the manga a try. If you're a fan of anime, this one needs no introduction. And if you haven't watched it yet, consider this your homework. Please go watch it. Out of all the movies I covered so far, Ninja Scroll is definitely my favorite. And I think this is when Yoshiaki Kawajiri used everything he learned from the previous 3 works to hone his formula. This one is not an adaptation of a manga or novel, but rather an original story written and directed by Kawajiri. It is animated by Studio Madhouse, and I think they went all out on this one. Character designs continue to shine in how creative and stylish they look, and the bump in animation quality is visible. You can clearly see it looks even more fluid than what came before, and it has plenty of action. As usual, let's take a look at the original Japanese title. It's read as Jubei Ninpu-cho. This is Jubei, our protagonist, and Ninpu-cho. The kanji nin is used in constructions like ninja or shinobi. This kanji alone is read as fu, meaning wind, air, style, or manner, and cho, meaning folding book. So the deeper sense of the title would be Jubei Ninja Scroll, Jubei Ninja Wind Book. Yeah, let's try not to get crazy on the meaning of each individual kanji. I'd just say that wind has a lot to do with the movie, seeing as Jubei can use a type of air slash technique. As for the plot, first, I truly recommend you give this one a watch. It's just that good. I'd say it's like a Nakita or a Ghost in the Shell. It's a must-watch. But now that you've been warned, let's go. The movie takes place around the Edo period Japan during the Tokugawa shogunate, which is supposed to be a more peaceful era than the previous Sengoku period filled with civil war, but as it happens, we can't have nice things now, can we? Some people don't want that. In the hopes of overthrowing Tokugawa and reinstate the Toyotomi clan, the Shogun of the Dark employs the 8 Devils of Kimon, a bunch of powerful ninja, each of whom have a special superpower. There's a puppeteer, a dude with electrical powers, the snake lady, a dude with a rock-hard skin, one who controls bees, the explosives chick, the blind skillful swordsman, and their leader, Hinmuro Genma. The Tokugawa family have their own shinobi working for them, the ones from the Koga village, including our co-protagonist, Kagero. Kagero is a highly skilled kunoichi who specializes in poison tasting for the shogun. However, she's pretty much poison herself. Her skin is poisonous, therefore she can't be touched or even kissed without killing somebody. Think of her as having a similar plight to Rogue from the X-Men.
Well, this ninja girl is very useful. You see, she has the technique of poisoning the man she sleeps with.
Kagero is the only survivor of an attack staged by one of the Devils of Kimon, so she joined forces with Jubei to get her revenge and complete her assignment on behalf of the shogun. As for Jubei, who is an extremely skillful but pretty laid-back guy, he is hired against his will by an old man called Dakuan. Let me explain what I mean by hired against his will. Dakuan is a government spy who wants to use Jubei's skills to put an end to this government overthrowing plot. So he decides to poison Jubei with the promise of giving him the antidote when the mission is finished. And so Jubei, Kagero, and Dakuan will go on this action-filled adventure fighting the enemy shinobi. Throughout the movie, expect plenty of violence and some adult-oriented scenes if you catch my drift. As things develop, the unexpected alliance between Jubei and Kagero grows to become something else. As for Jubei's cure, Dakuan reveals it's Kagero. In his words, only poison can nullify the effect of poison. So Jubei only needs to sleep with her to have his cure. Kagero is willing to do this in order to save his life, but Jubei is basically, no, not like this. Sadly, Genma manages to deal a fatal blow to Kagero. Jubei kisses her finally, not out of a duty or necessity, but due to a stronger and real feeling, saving himself and giving Kagero the opportunity to finally have a real connection and human touch. Jubei continues his quest, which now is not only about politics, but more about revenge. Genma and Jubei had a history together. In the past, Jubei decapitated the evil Genma, who only is around because of his reincarnation technique, so you can see the bad blood runs both ways. Their final battle takes place on a ship filled with gold, where Jubei manages to come out victorious, avenging Kagero's death and stopping those government overthrowing plans before heading off to wherever the wind takes him. It seems that these winds take him to Ninja Scroll the series, which supposedly takes place after the movie, but man, there's barely any connection to the movie. As much as I like having more Ninja Scroll and Jubei's adventures, it doesn't feel like a sequel that much. In this video, I mentioned something about the recurring elements in these animations directed by Yoshiaki Kawajiri. These elements are a mix of the erotic undertones and romance. You may have noticed that in every movie there's a bit of romance or some relationship between the hero and a female protagonist. Goku Midnight Eye has that to a lesser extent, because in the first OVA was more like a friendship with Yoko, and in the second Goku simply has a one-night stand with Yoshiko. The romance in Wicked City between Taki and Maki, even though it was pivotal to the script from a plot standpoint, visually, it didn't feel fleshed out. I couldn't see the relationship brewing there, but the formula was perfected in Ninja Scroll. It's funny to think that Ninja Scroll is a badass anime with sick fights, gore, erotic scenes, and political intrigue, something that would make it as edgy as they come. But Kawajiri managed to write in a cute romance between Jubei and Kagero. Jubei's level of respect for the warrior in Kagero grows every time they save each other's back, and that feeling eventually evolves throughout the movie. As for Kagero, she tries not to like Jubei, but she can't help it, and that is something shown over the course of the film in their interactions. So yeah, next time your girlfriend wants to watch something romantic, don't show her a romantic comedy, show her a Ninja Scroll. The animation quality, character designs, the plot, the action, Ninja Scroll has all these things going for it, making it be highly regarded as some of the best that Japanese animation has to offer, like Akira and Ghost in the Shell. Even the Wachowskis cited Ninja Scroll as an influence from The Matrix, and Kawajiri even contributed when the Animatrix was released. And these are some great anime from the 80s and 90s you can't miss out if you're an appreciator of the medium. Anime from this era are just so sexy, stylish, and have a flair all of their own that I just can't get enough. I've got a few more I'd like to cover, so I'll leave that for part 2. For the time being, thanks for watching, and see ya!